Welcome to Six Path Weeb, your gateway to untold possibilities within the anime multiverse. Today's file: what if Naruko had a hidden regimen? An alternate evolution. Unseen. Unspoken. What happens when raw potential is sharpened in secret? Before we dive into the unknown, disclaimer: all content is crafted for entertainment and speculative discussion. I do not claim ownership of any anime footage. All rights belong to their original creators and copyright holders. Upload complete. Let's unlock the hidden path, now. Walking through the peaceful streets of Kanahagakure no Sato, Naruko Uzumaki felt an all-too-familiar ache in her heart: loneliness. Though surrounded by people, Naruko couldn't shake the feeling of isolation. As she passed by, villagers quietly stepped aside. She heard the murmurs, words like strange and troublesome. Parents gently ushered their children away, whispering caution into young ears. Naruko had one question echoing in her mind: why? Every time she asked her cherished grandfather figure, Lord Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, he always responded gently: people often fear what they do not understand. For a while, Naruko wondered if it was because of her sunny golden hair or her bright blue eyes. But others in the village had unique features too, like the girl with pink hair and emerald eyes, or the silver-haired man with a mask. When she finally returned to her small apartment, the exterior greeted her with faded scribbles and unkind marks. She unlocked the door, stepped inside, and locked it again behind her. The silence was heavy. In the kitchen, she opened a cupboard and pulled out a cup of instant ramen. After eating quietly, she took a warm shower and soon curled up under the covers, tears silently slipping down her cheeks as she drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Naruko wasn't quite sure what she wanted to do, so she decided to wander through the village. As she turned a corner near a main road, something caught her attention, an image that stirred something deep within her. There, walking with grace and purpose, was Lord Hiruzen, the Hokage. Naruko watched from afar, unnoticed. But it wasn't his authority that captivated her, it was the way people looked at him. Their eyes weren't filled with fear or discomfort, but admiration and warmth. At that moment, Naruko had a quiet realization. Maybe, if I became Hokage, I too could be someone people admired. Someone they trusted and believed in. With sudden excitement, she called out, "Hey, Gigi." Startled, a few adults turned with wary expressions, but the Hokage's reaction was different. He turned with a kind smile and called back, "How are you doing, my dear?" "I'm doing all right. Can I ask you something?" "Of course," he replied warmly. "How can I become Hokage?" Hiruzen's eyes widened just a little before he let out a soft chuckle. "Let's talk about that in my office." In the Hokage's office. Hiruzen sat behind a large desk, a small mountain of paperwork stacked around him. He puffed thoughtfully on his pipe as he looked down at the eager young girl seated before him. "I became Hokage because I was considered the strongest ninja in the village," he began. "So, all I have to do is become the strongest?" Naruko asked, her eyes bright with determination. "That's part of it," Hiruzen explained. "But being Hokage means much more. Tell me, what do you think a ninja truly is?" Naruko beamed. "They're awesome warriors who can use cool techniques." The elderly Hokage chuckled gently. "That's one way to look at it. But a ninja is someone who endures hardships and protects those who cannot protect themselves." Naruko tilted her head in thought. "So, a Hokage is the one who endures the most? The one who looks after everyone so they can feel safe and at peace?" Hiruzen smiled with genuine pride. "Exactly." "Then how can I become a ninja?" she asked. "Well," he replied, "you'll need to enroll in the academy. But the minimum age to start is 6. Naruko's shoulders slumped slightly. "So I have to wait a whole year?" Seeing her disappointment, Hiruzen offered a reassuring smile. "That doesn't mean you can't prepare. You could study or begin light training." Naruko hesitated. "I tried going to the library once. But they told me I wasn't allowed." A flicker of concern crossed the Hokage's face. After a moment of thought, he wrote a short note, signed it, and rolled it into a scroll. Handing it to Naruko, he said, "Take this. It explains that the library is a public building and that every citizen of Konoha has the right to use it. If anyone gives you trouble, just show them this." Naruko took the scroll with wide eyes. She jumped up and hugged the old man tightly. "Thank you so much, Gigi." Hiruzen returned the hug, smiling warmly. "You're always welcome, Naruko. If you ever need help, don't hesitate to come see me." "I'm going to the library right now," she said, already halfway out the door. "Enjoy your reading," he called after her, watching her leave. A quiet thought lingered in his mind: she has such a strong spirit. I hope the village sees her for who she truly is. 10 minutes later, at the library. Standing before the large entrance, Naruko felt nervous, but she gathered her courage and stepped inside. As she passed the front desk, the librarian noticed her and raised an eyebrow. "What are you doing here?" "I thought I told you that you couldn't be in here," the woman said. Naruko, though anxious, stood tall and said clearly, "The Hokage told me this library belongs to the village and all citizens are allowed to use it." The librarian frowned slightly, but Naruko opened the scroll and held it up. After reading it, the woman sighed. "All right," she said with a small huff. "You can stay. Just remember, keep your voice down and don't leave things out of place. If you want to borrow books, you'll need a library card." "Can I get one now?" "Sure." 10 minutes later. The librarian handed Naruko a simple card. "This is your library card. Just bring books to me before you leave if you want to check them out." "Thank you," Naruko said, beaming. She wandered through the aisles, finally discovering the shinobi section. Her eyes lit up when she found a book titled Becoming a Shinobi for Beginners. She took it to a quiet table, opened the first page, and began reading. A shinobi is someone who uses the tools and skills available to complete missions given by their leader, the Kage. The most important of these tools is chakra, which is formed by blending physical and spiritual energy. Chakra is used to perform various techniques, but also to enhance one's body during physical training. The first step for any aspiring ninja is to unlock their chakra, though physical health and discipline are equally vital. Naruko's excitement grew as she read, the world of ninjas finally beginning to open before her. She continued reading, her heart full of new dreams and determination. A few hours later. Naruko had spent the last few hours deeply engrossed in her reading. She had discovered 2 more books she found especially helpful: Chakra Basics and Workouts for Shinobi Trainees. As the library was about to close, she gathered her things and brought all 3 books to the front desk. Approaching the desk, she noticed a different librarian on duty. With a polite smile, she said, "Good afternoon. I'd like to check out these 3 books, please." The librarian returned her smile warmly and replied, "Of course. May I see your library card, please?" Naruko handed it over, and after a quick scan, the books were checked out. On her way home, Naruko felt cheerful. The librarian had treated her kindly, and that simple gesture meant the world to her. When she got home, she didn't mind the stillness. It was comforting in its own way, and she was content knowing she had new knowledge to look forward to. A week later. It had been a week since Naruko's last visit to the library, and she had enjoyed every moment of reading and preparing for her future as a shinobi. The quiet sanctuary of the library provided a welcome break from the noisy bustle of the village. Over the past few days, she had been diligently trying to unlock her chakra, although she hadn't quite succeeded yet. One major challenge she encountered, however, was food. Her workout book emphasized the importance of a balanced diet for physical growth and stamina. But whenever she tried to buy groceries, she either got turned away or was charged unfairly high prices. Frustrated, she wandered through the streets, holding tightly to the money she had saved, only to face constant rejection. Then she remembered her dear grandfather figure, the Hokage. He had always promised to help if she ever needed support. Without a second thought, she took off toward the Hokage's office. 10 minutes later. Panting slightly, Naruko stood before the Hokage building. After catching her breath, she stepped inside and approached the reception desk. "Hello," she said politely. "Is the Hokage available, or is he in a meeting?" The woman behind the desk didn't even look up. "Of course he's busy. Someone like you shouldn't expect a meeting." Naruko's eyes dropped to the floor, trying to hold back the sting of tears. Just then, a strong yet kind voice called out from nearby. "I always have time for Naruko," Hiruzen Sarutobi said firmly, smiling warmly. "Anything to get me away from that mountain of paperwork," he thought to himself with some amusement. Naruko lit up with joy and walked up to him. "Let's go," she said, her spirit already lifting. As they passed the front desk, Hiruzen gave his assistant a sharp glance, causing her to shift uncomfortably. She immediately realized she had made a serious mistake. Outside, the Hokage asked, "What's troubling you, Naruko? Why did you come see me?" Looking down, Naruko spoke quietly, "I need help getting food." "I didn't quite hear that. Can you say it a little louder?" "I read that eating healthy food helps you grow stronger, but when I try to buy groceries, people refuse to sell to me or charge way too much. I came to you because I don't know what else to do." Though Hiruzen's expression remained calm, he was deeply troubled by what he heard. Inside, he was determined to find a solution, quickly. "I think I can help," he said gently. "Have you managed to unlock your chakra yet?" "I'm getting close, but not quite there." "In that case, I can't teach you transformation techniques just yet. But for now, how about I go shopping with you? Then, when we get back, we'll begin some training together." Naruko's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Really? You mean it, Gigi?" "Of course. Now come on, let's get you everything you need." Naruko hugged him tightly. "Thank you so much." Coincidentally, they were standing in front of a store. As a test, Hiruzen let Naruko enter first. No sooner had she walked in than a clerk shouted, "Hey! You're not allowed." "Why wouldn't this young citizen of Konoha be welcome in your fine store?" Hiruzen asked pleasantly, though his tone carried weight. The clerk paled upon realizing who he was speaking to. Hokage-sama. Of course she's welcome. Please, shop freely." "I thought so." 2 hours later. Back at Naruko's apartment, she and the Hokage filled the refrigerator with groceries. A cookbook lay neatly on the table. "Thank you so much, Gigi," Naruko said, closing the fridge and beaming. "You're welcome, Naruko. I want you to grow up strong, and part of that is learning how to prepare your own meals." "I'll learn. I promise." "I know you will," Hiruzen replied as he opened the door. "But I must return to the office now. I'll see you again soon." "Bye, Gigi." Naruko waved, already pulling out the cookbook to start learning. 1 year time skip. At 6 in the morning, Naruko woke up bright and early. Today was the first day of the academy, and she was bursting with excitement. She had grown to 3 feet 5 inches and, thanks to her workouts, was leaner and more energetic than ever. She began her day with stretching, followed by 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups. After a refreshing shower, she made herself a healthy breakfast: toast, eggs, and crispy veggie strips. By 7:30, she was on her way to the academy. When she arrived, she entered the classroom to find 3 students already inside. Near the window sat a quiet Uchiha boy with jet black hair and dark eyes. In the back corner, a sleepy student with a pineapple-shaped hair bun dozed off. Next to him sat a cheerful, round-faced boy snacking on chips. Naruko chose a seat in the middle row, close enough to learn clearly but not too far back to seem disengaged. She pulled out a book on Fuinjutsu and smiled, remembering how she discovered it. Flashback. While reading a book on Konoha's history, Naruko came across something intriguing, a mention of the Uzumaki clan and their alliance with the Whirlpool village. The idea of having a clan of her own sparked her curiosity. After some searching, she found a book about the Uzumaki clan. She learned they were skilled in sealing techniques and renowned for their energy, resilience, and large chakra reserves. Though they didn't have a specific inherited ability, their strength and vitality were legendary. She finished the entire book that day and, inspired by her heritage, checked out a beginner's guide to Fuinjutsu to honor her ancestors. As more students trickled in, the classroom gradually filled. At 8:15 sharp, a friendly-looking instructor with a scar over his nose entered. Following him was a tall man with pale blue hair under a bandana. "Good morning, class," the instructor said. "My name is Umino Iruka, and I'll be your teacher for the next 6 years. This is my assistant, Mizuki." He began calling roll, pausing briefly when students from well-known clans responded. Aburame Shino. Here. Akimichi Choji. Here. Hyuga Hinata. Present. Inuzuka Kiba. Yo. Nara Shikamaru. Troublesome. But here. Uchiha Sasuke. HN. Uzumaki Naruko. Here. Yamanaka Ino. Right here. With roll call complete, Iruka set the clipboard down and addressed the class. "You are all here to begin your journey as shinobi. Over the next 6 years, you'll learn essential skills such as ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu, as well as standard academic subjects." He looked around the room. "Some of you may have already unlocked your chakra. Would anyone like to demonstrate?" 3 students stood up: Shikamaru, Sasuke, and Naruko. Shikamaru went first. "I can use the shadow imitation technique." His shadow extended and connected with Iruka's, gently making him mirror Shikamaru's relaxed movements. The class was impressed. "Very good," Iruka nodded. "Now, Naruko?" "I can use the transformation technique and the substitution technique," Naruko said with a proud smile. She transformed into a perfect replica of Iruka, drawing applause from the class. Excellent control. Well done. Sasuke stepped forward next. I can use a fire release technique, he said calmly. He formed the hand signs and created a small fireball that hovered before fading out. Impressive, Iruka said as he clapped. Thank you all. Please return to your seats. As the three sat back down, Naruko couldn't help but grin. She was ready for this new chapter in her life, and she couldn't wait to learn more. A few months had passed, and winter had arrived. The initial thrill of attending the Shinobi Academy had gradually faded for Naruko. Despite being surrounded by classmates, she often felt isolated. Many students distanced themselves from her, following the quiet prejudices carried over from their families. Even the teachers seemed to treat her differently, often skipping over her questions or subtly correcting her form with misleading advice during physical training. Luckily, Naruko had come across a taijutsu manual and had begun teaching herself. Although she hadn't yet found a style that fit her perfectly, she worked hard to master basic techniques, simple punches, kicks, and defensive maneuvers to keep her balanced and confident. One afternoon, after a long solo workout session, Naruko was making her way home through a quiet forest path when she heard raised voices ahead. Pale-eyed weirdo. You think you're better than everyone else? Concerned, Naruko rushed toward the sound. When she arrived, she saw 5 older academy boys confronting a timid girl. Without hesitation, Naruko called out, her tone firm but calm. Hey! Why don't you all find something better to do? The group turned, surprised by the interruption. When they saw the petite girl standing boldly before them, they burst into laughter. And what exactly are you going to do? One of them smirked. I'll stop you if I have to, Naruko replied confidently. Really? We're all top-year students, another sneered. It doesn't matter, she said as she dashed forward. Naruko quickly dodged a punch, flipping over the first boy and landing a clean kick that knocked him off balance. Another attempted to strike her, while one tried to grab her legs, but Naruko swiftly used the replacement technique, leaving only a harmless log behind. She knows jutsu? One exclaimed, surprised. While they searched for her, Naruko appeared above and gently landed a controlled kick on another boy, causing him to stumble. The others regrouped, more cautious now. Though Naruko was talented, she had already trained hard earlier that day and couldn't keep up forever. After a brief struggle, the boys decided to leave, grumbling as they walked away. Once they disappeared, Naruko approached the girl, who was still sitting curled up on the ground. She gently said, Hey, it's all right now. They're gone. The girl looked up shyly. Why, you didn't have to help. Naruko smiled warmly. Of course I did. I couldn't stand by while someone was being treated unfairly. The girl blushed slightly. I'm Hyuga Hinata. I'm Uzumaki Naruko. We're in the same class, right? Let's be friends, Naruko said, holding out her hand. Hinata hesitated, then reached for it, but just then a voice called out, Hinata-sama, there you are. A man dressed in traditional Hyuga attire appeared. With a polite nod, he lifted Hinata gently into his arms. Let's get you home. Please don't spend time with others like that, he said without acknowledging Naruko further. With that, they disappeared into the forest. Naruko watched them leave, then sighed softly. She continued home, prepared a simple dinner of rice and chicken, and read from her Fuinjutsu book while eating. She knew she needed something peaceful after the long day. After a bit more practice, she put away her supplies, took a relaxing shower, and went to bed early. The next morning. On her way to school, Naruko was lost in thought. The encounter in the forest made her realize something important. While she was strong, her current training wouldn't be enough in the long run. She needed to find a real taijutsu style, something she could master and grow with. She resolved to visit the village library later that week. When she arrived at the academy, she spotted Hinata and walked over. Is this seat taken? Hinata shook her head. And no. Naruko sat beside her with a smile. You never really answered yesterday. Hinata blushed lightly and fiddled with her fingers. I'd really like to be your friend. Naruko grinned. Great. Maybe we can train or study together sometime. Sure. That sounds nice. Just then, Iruka and Mizuki entered the room. Good morning, class. Iruka greeted. Most of the students kept talking, prompting Iruka to use his signature exaggerated scolding expression. Quiet down, please. Instantly, the room fell silent. Iruka continued. Today, we're working on chakra exercises. Please separate into 2 groups, those who've unlocked their chakra and those who haven't. The students sorted themselves. Clan heirs and Naruko stood together, while civilians gathered on the other side. Iruka said, "Those who've unlocked chakra, follow me. The rest, go with Mizuki." Iruka's group headed outdoors. Once they were far enough, he pulled out a special scroll. This scroll measures chakra levels. The more it glows, the more chakra you have. Most of you will pass the academy line here, he explained, pointing to a marker on the scroll. The farther past the line, the more advanced your chakra control training will need to be. Students lined up. Shikamaru went first and surpassed the line by about 3 inches. Choji and Shino followed, each a little over 2 inches. Ino and Hinata barely cleared the line, while Kiba made it just a bit more. Then came Sasuke. The scroll lit up impressively, glowing 9 inches past the line. Students murmured in admiration. Finally, Naruko stepped forward. As soon as she focused her chakra, the scroll shimmered intensely and filled nearly from end to end. The students gasped, and even Iruka was momentarily speechless. Naruko scratched her head. "I guess I've got a lot of chakra?" Iruka chuckled. "Yes, but it also means you'll need to train extra hard to manage it." "Fine by me," Naruko said cheerfully. Iruka smiled. "Today's exercise is leaf concentration, holding a leaf on your forehead using only your chakra. Let's get started." End of the school day. After class, Iruka gathered his things and made his way to the Hokage's office. Upon arriving, he was quickly granted entry. "Good afternoon, Hokage-sama," he greeted. "Ah, Iruka. What brings you here?" "One of my students showed remarkable chakra potential today." "Oh? Who?" "Uzumaki Naruko. When she tested with the chakra scroll, she nearly lit the entire thing up instantly. That's typically only possible for those at Genin level or higher." The Hokage nodded thoughtfully. "Do you believe it's due to her natural reserves or something else?" "I'm not sure. I didn't notice anything unusual in her chakra color. But she was having difficulty with the leaf control, she kept using too much chakra unintentionally." "Interesting. We may need to assess her further. If her reserves are already that vast, she'll require advanced control exercises earlier than her peers." "I agree. I'll monitor her progress closely." "Thank you, Iruka. Keep me informed." With a respectful bow, Iruka turned and left the office, thoughts of Naruko's extraordinary potential at the front of his mind. Naruko's new path. Naruko was in the library, carefully flipping through a book on taijutsu styles. She had started to suspect that the instructors at the academy weren't teaching her the most suitable forms, and she was determined to find a method that truly matched her strengths. As she read, she discovered that taijutsu styles often focused on specific qualities, such as speed, flexibility, counter-movement, or power. After some consideration, Naruko decided to focus on speed and unpredictability. Eventually, a particular style caught her attention, Regimen. It featured rapid and precise movements for offense, while its defensive techniques emphasized dodging and parrying. It was exactly what she had been searching for. Rather than borrow the book for a limited time, Naruko purchased it, knowing she would need to reference it again and again. With the book in hand and excitement bubbling in her chest, she dashed off to a nearby training ground, eager to begin learning her new taijutsu form. 3 months to go. As winter neared its end and the Genin exams approached, Naruko felt a growing sense of unease. Despite 5 years of chakra control exercises, she still hadn't been able to master the clone technique. She had successfully learned leaf sticking, tree climbing, and even water walking. She had attempted to combine different exercises, like sticking leaves to her limbs while walking across water, and yet, the basic clone technique continued to elude her. She had read that elemental clones required more chakra to form and thought that perhaps using one would allow her to bypass the control issues. But that information was found in a section of the library she didn't yet have access to. Time was running short, and with the Genin exam so close, she knew she needed to act. Naruko made her way to the Hokage's office, hoping for guidance. As she stepped into the building, she approached the front desk with a hopeful smile. "Good morning. May I please see the Hokage today?" The secretary looked up and, after a moment of consideration, nodded. "All right, go ahead upstairs. He's available." Grinning with gratitude, Naruko thanked her and hurried up the stairs. When she reached the Hokage's door, she knocked politely and waited. "Come in," came a warm voice from inside. "Hi, Gigi." She beamed as she stepped into the office. "Ah, Naruko," Hiruzen Sarutobi greeted her with a smile. "It's been a while. How's the academy going?" I'm second in my class, she replied, a slight puff of pride in her posture. Only second? The Hokage teased gently, a knowing smile on his face. Sasuke Uchiha is just a bit ahead, mostly because of her ninjutsu and shuriken techniques. But that's actually why I came here, Naruko explained, fidgeting slightly. What's the matter, Naruko? Well, I've been working really hard on my chakra control, but I still can't get the clone technique right. I even tried to find more advanced techniques, but those are in the restricted section. The graduation exam is coming up, and I was wondering if you could help me. The old Hokage gave her a thoughtful look. Just like her mother, he thought fondly. After a pause, he began writing on a scroll. I'm writing down the information on a technique called the Shadow Clone Jutsu. It's more advanced and uses more chakra, which may actually help you. However, you must read the scroll carefully. It's important to understand it completely before trying anything. Naruko's eyes sparkled with excitement as she looked at the scroll, then up at the Hokage. She threw her arms around him, overjoyed. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you so much. He returned the hug with a warm smile. Anytime, my girl. I'm always here for you. I'm going to master this. I promise. With that, Naruko rushed out the door and made a straight path to the nearest training field. Discovery in progress. At Training Ground 31, Naruko sat down and opened the scroll. Shadow Clone Technique, B Rank Jutsu. Hand seal, cross index and middle fingers of both hands. Description: this technique evenly divides the user's chakra into solid duplicates. These clones are capable of independent thought and action and can perform techniques on their own. Once dispelled, each clone returns all its experiences and chakra back to the user, making it incredibly effective for training and information gathering. Drawback: absorbing too much information from numerous clones may result in temporary fatigue and mild headaches. This is exactly what I needed, Naruko exclaimed. She stood up, her hands forming the clone seal. Closing her eyes, she focused. Release chakra, mold it, split it. Half the chakra should go into the clone. Okay, Shadow Clone Technique. Opening one eye hesitantly, she looked around. No clone. She sighed and tried again, adjusting the chakra levels. Still no clone. Maybe I need less than half. I have a lot of chakra after all, she mused. This time, she used only about a quarter of her chakra and tried again. Shadow Clone Technique. To her amazement, a perfect copy of herself appeared in front of her, mirroring her smile. I did it. Naruko cheered. You did it. The clone echoed excitedly. The two hugged and jumped in celebration, chanting, we did it. We did it. After calming down, Naruko instructed the clone, go do something simple over by those trees. I want to test the memory feedback. As the clone ran off, Naruko created more, 2, then 3 more, and was about to make 4 when she suddenly received a rush of memories from the first one. She clutched her stomach, surprised. Oof. So that's what memory feedback feels like. Guess I'll have to pace myself. Later that day. Naruko lay in the grass, exhausted but smiling. She had spent the past hour creating clone after clone to test her chakra limits. Her stomach rumbled. I think I've made at least a couple hundred, she thought as she stood up. Time for a break. With a satisfied smile, she made her way to Ichiraku Ramen, her favorite spot. As she entered the stand, she was greeted by a familiar face. Hi, Naruko. How are you today? Asked Ayame. Hi, Ayame. Just finished a big training session. I've been dreaming about your ramen all morning. Ayame giggled. Well, you're in the right place. What can I get for you today? 2 miso bowls and 2 pork, please. Ayame turned toward the kitchen. To-san. 2 miso, 2 pork for our best customer. From the back, a cheerful voice replied, coming right up. Great to see you, Naruko. Thanks, Naruko said gratefully. After enjoying every last bite and paying for her meal, Naruko stood up with a happy sigh. Thanks for the amazing food. Come back soon. Ayame waved. Pushing her limits. Back at the training ground, Naruko was still thinking. If clones return knowledge, maybe they return chakra and muscle memory, too. Time to find out. She created one clone and said, please go to my apartment and bring my sealing materials. Hi. The clone responded and quickly dashed off. Once it returned, Naruko created 10 more clones and gave them instructions. Let's test chakra memory. Last time I could water walk while sticking 5 leaves to my body. Try for 6 or 7, okay? The clones nodded and got to work near the lake. Creating 9 more, Naruko handed out another task. Let's see if we can test muscle memory. Practice drawing the restriction seal for training. I want us to improve our accuracy. As the clones dispersed, Naruko dropped into a light workout herself, energy renewed by ramen and excitement. If this works, she thought with determination, I'll be able to learn faster than ever before. Naruko Uzumaki's Academy Exam Day. Naruko Uzumaki prepared for the day with both determination and excitement. Today marked the Genin exam, an important step in her journey as a shinobi. Over the past 3 months, her training had advanced significantly. Thanks to the use of shadow clones in combination with a training restriction seal, Naruko had accelerated her learning. The seal made her physical exercises much more demanding, especially since she had recently increased the difficulty to level 4, but it paid off in improving her chakra control and jutsu speed. As she made her way to the academy, Naruko beamed with confidence and anticipation. While she currently only knew the Henge no Jutsu, Kawarimi no Jutsu, and Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, she was optimistic that her future instructor would teach her elemental techniques in time. Upon arriving and taking her seat in the classroom, Naruko focused as Iruka-sensei and Mizuki-sensei entered the room. This exam will have 5 parts, Iruka began. We'll start with a written test, so please find your seats. Once everyone was seated, Mizuki began distributing the test papers. You'll have 1 hour to complete 10 questions. A moment later, Iruka called out, begin. 1 hour later. Pencils down. Naruko wiped the sweat from her brow, smiling confidently. She had done her best and felt proud of her performance. We'll now head outside for the next part of the exam, Iruka announced. Outside, the students lined up in the training yard. I'll call your name. You'll throw 10 kunai and 10 shuriken at the target, Iruka instructed. Aburame Shino, 6/10 and 7/10. Akimichi Choji, 6/10 and 5/10. Haruno Sakura, 3/10 and 3/10. Hyuga Hinata, 8/10 and 8/10. Inuzuka Kiba, 6/10 and 6/10. Nara Shikamaru, 5/10 and 5/10. Uchiha Sasuke, 9/10 and 10/10. Uzumaki Naruko, 9/10 and 9/10. Yamanaka Ino, 3/10 and 3/10. Once all the students had finished, Iruka called out, next is basic sparring. Each of you will face Mizuki-sensei. If you can hold your ground within the ring for 3 minutes, you'll receive full points. Naruko took a seat under a nearby tree while waiting for her turn. She felt a bit disappointed at not scoring a perfect 10, but watching her classmates spar gave her renewed confidence. Uzumaki Naruko, step into the circle. She stood, calmly entering a basic Reikin stance, her amber eyes locked on Mizuki. Hajime. Mizuki launched toward her with a quick strike, but Naruko evaded, countering with a side punch. Mizuki ducked, attempting to sweep her legs, but Naruko flipped over and aimed a descending kick. Mizuki caught her leg and tossed her across the circle. She rolled midair to recover and silently activated her training seal release, Kai. With renewed energy, Naruko rushed in. Mizuki blocked her initial strike, then tried to counter with a punch, but she used his arm to launch herself upward, landing a clever springboard move that sent him stumbling back. With a final dash, she struck a direct hit to his abdomen, gently knocking him from the ring. A heavy silence fell. Then Iruka broke it with a proud voice, well done, Naruko. Please step out of the ring. Naruko sat down, resealing her restriction chakra band while Iruka continued evaluating the other students. Later that afternoon. After lunch, Iruka stood before the class. Time for the final 2 tests. You'll be tested individually on Genjutsu and the Academy's core techniques. If you pass both, you'll officially become Genin. As the students were called one by one, Naruko mentally reviewed her training. She felt confident in her ninjutsu, but Genjutsu remained her weak spot. I hope I recognize the illusion in time, she thought. Finally, Iruka called, Naruko Uzumaki. As she entered the examination room, Iruka explained, we'll place you under a Genjutsu at an unexpected moment. Don't react too early or points will be deducted. Understood, she replied with confidence. Minutes passed. Then something felt off. The wood paneling was darker, and Iruka's features were subtly altered. Holding a single hand seal, Naruko focused her chakra and gently disrupted its flow. Kai. She opened her eyes to see both instructors smiling. Well done, Iruka said. Now show us the Academy 3. Naruko raised a hand. Can I use an alternative clone technique? As long as it's effective, Iruka answered. Naruko grinned. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 perfect shadow clones appeared. The left transformed into a flawless version of the third Hokage. Henge. The right clone vanished, replaced by a log. Kawarimi. In between them stood Naruko, beaming with pride. Iruka reached for a dark cloth forehead protector. Congratulations, Naruko Uzumaki. You are now officially a Genin. Return in a week for team assignments. Grades will be posted then. Naruko accepted the headband with joy sparkling in her eyes. She didn't care about the stares or murmurs as she exited the building. She had passed. Her celebratory ramen that evening was the best she'd ever tasted. Later that evening. While walking home, Naruko felt a tap on her shoulder. Hey Naruko, can I talk to you? It was Mizuki. Sure. What's up? Let's talk privately. They walked to a quiet part of the forest. Mizuki smiled. You did really well on the exam. I wanted to offer you an extra challenge, an opportunity to become Rookie of the Year. Naruko tilted her head. I'm not too concerned with that title, Mizuki-sensei. I just want to improve and do my best. Well, Mizuki said with a slight shift in tone, if you complete this bonus test, you'd also earn extra gear. Naruko grew suspicious. What kind of test? Later, in the Hokage's office. Hey, Grandpa, she said, smiling. The Hokage looked up from his paperwork. You passed. Yep. But now I've got a new problem. Oh? What is it? Mizuki-sensei told me about a bonus test, but it sounded odd. He said I had to take the scroll of sealing into the forest and learn a jutsu from it. Hiruzen's expression became serious. That isn't part of any official test. I thought so too. I came to ask what I should do. What do you think we should do? The Hokage asked, intrigued. Naruko smiled. We stage it. I take a fake scroll to the meeting point, and Anbu can be ready to observe. If Mizuki shows suspicious behavior, he can be arrested. Hiruzen nodded. That's a clever idea. Inu. An Anbu member appeared instantly. Yes, Lord Hokage? Escort Naruko to the designated location. This is a B-rank surveillance mission. Naruko beamed. Got it. She carefully examined the real scroll and then used a transformation jutsu to create a perfect replica. At the forest clearing. Naruko paced, pretending to have trained. Suddenly, she heard rustling behind her. What are you doing, Naruko? Iruka's voice called out. Mizuki-sensei said this was a bonus test. Iruka's anger turned into confusion. A bonus test? That's not right. Suddenly, a barrage of kunai interrupted them. Hand over the scroll, Naruko. Mizuki appeared from the trees. Don't listen to him. Iruka warned. Mizuki tried to argue, but before he could say more, a swift and quiet motion from the shadows rendered him unconscious. Anbu had acted quickly. The masked shinobi spoke calmly, thank you both for your help. Naruko, let's return to the Hokage. Back at the Hokage's office. Mission success, Inu reported. Well done. Inu, take Mizuki into custody. Naruko, your pay will be in your account by morning. But Naruko didn't leave. Why do people glare at me, Grandpa? Hiruzen sighed. Sometimes people fear what they don't understand. And what exactly don't they understand? You're unique, Naruko. Please. Just tell me the truth. The old Hokage looked solemn. You are the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. A whisper escaped Naruko's lips. I figured it out a year ago. Hiruzen's eyes widened. How? I found the seal. I did the math. I'm not mad about what I am. I'm upset you didn't trust me with the truth. I only wanted you to have a normal childhood, he said softly. We both know that wasn't going to happen, she replied, more tired than angry. Naruko turned toward the door. I just wanted to hear it from you. That's all. As she left, the Hokage lit his pipe with a heavy heart. That could have gone better. Lying in bed, Naruko reflected on her day. Not even a full day into her role as a Genin, and she already had a B-rank mission recorded in her profile. Although the assignment came unexpectedly, her grandfather figure had finally shared with her the truth about the powerful creature sealed within her, something called a tailed beast. She understood he had only been trying to protect her, but sometimes, knowing the truth is more empowering than being shielded from it. As these thoughts drifted through her mind, her eyes slowly closed. When she opened them again, everything had changed. She found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast, mysterious library. Endless branching paths stretched before her, with towering bookshelves that, while mostly empty now, hinted at a collection that could grow endlessly. The space felt surreal yet oddly peaceful. Far in the distance, a deep, rhythmic breathing echoed through the halls, along with a low, guttural sound that sent a chill down her spine. Curious and cautious, Naruko walked toward the source of the sound, hoping she wasn't entirely alone in this strange realm. Eventually, she came upon a massive, shadowed cage. She couldn't see inside clearly, so she stepped forward, heart pounding. A voice rang out, deep and resonant. "So, my guest finally arrives." A large, red, slitted eye opened in the darkness, causing Naruko to instinctively take a step back. "Who are you?" she asked, trying to sound braver than she felt. A wide grin appeared just below the eye. "Didn't your elder already tell you about me?" Her eyes widened in realization. "You're the QB." From the shadows emerged an enormous fox, its red-orange fur glowing slightly, and 9 long tails gently swishing behind it. The presence was awe-inspiring. "At least my host is observant," the creature said, clearly amused. Naruko scratched her chin thoughtfully. "All those books made it seem like you were just a mindless force." Raising one furry brow, the fox asked, "What do you mean by that?" "Well," Naruko replied, standing a little straighter, "the books described you as a chaotic force with no thoughts or personality, but it's clear from just this short conversation that you're intelligent and self-aware. I wonder if there's more to you that people have misunderstood." The fox narrowed its eyes. "And what is it you're trying to gain from me?" Naruko raised her hands in peace. "Nothing. I just think, if we're going to be sharing a body, we might as well try to work together." The fox scoffed. "You just want to use my power." "Not without asking," Naruko replied earnestly. "I wouldn't want anyone taking something from me without permission, so I'm asking if we can come to an agreement." The fox seemed to relax slightly and laid its head on its paws. "Fine. What are you offering?" Naruko considered. "Well, what would make your time better? Is there anything I can do to make your stay less boring?" The fox's grin widened. "I enjoy activity. The kind that lets out energy." Naruko smiled. "I'll see what I can do. Maybe something peaceful, like a simulation space where you can roam freely?" Soon, the dark surroundings around the cage transformed into a peaceful field. Tall trees dotted the landscape, and a distant town lay beyond the hills. The scenery looked calm, ideal for rest or wandering. Panting slightly from the effort, Naruko looked up and asked, "How's that?" "Acceptable," the fox replied. "But what happened to the cage?" Naruko pointed. "I replaced it with a collar that allows you some freedom. I figured mobility would be nice. If you ever try anything dangerous, it'll trigger a containment seal." "Fair," the fox replied with a shrug. "So, what do you want from me?" "I want to become a great ninja, no, the greatest Hokage ever. I want to help people. And for that, I need strength. Are there any skills you can teach me?" "I could share some abilities from my previous hosts," the fox offered. "But only if you can learn to manage my chakra first." Naruko lit up with a bright smile. "That would be amazing. Thank you. You know, I never got your name." The fox tilted its head. "Name? Well, the one-tailed beast is called Shukaku, so I figured you had a name, too. I'd like to know it, if that's okay. Friends should know each other's names." The fox stared at her thoughtfully. "Friends? Humph. You're a strange one. Well, we'll be together for a long time. We might as well make the best of it." After a pause, the fox spoke. "My name is Kurama. But don't tell anyone. Only those I trust can know it." As her vision began to fade and the dream slowly unraveled, Naruko waved. "I'll see you soon for those lessons. Now I know where to find you." "Or," Kurama said with a small smirk, "we could create a direct mental link." "Let's take it one step at a time," Naruko replied with a laugh. 1 week later. Though Konohamaru was practically like a little brother to Naruko, his non-stop requests for training were starting to wear her down. On her last day in the academy classroom, Naruko sat with both excitement and nervousness. She knew her classmates had their opinions about her, and she hoped to be placed in a team where she could feel supported. Iruka entered the classroom with a clipboard in hand. "Good morning, everyone. Today marks your official transition into being Jinan. You'll be placed in 3-person teams with a Jonin instructor. I'll now call your teams. Afterward, you'll be dismissed for lunch and return at 12:30 p.m. to meet your instructors. Naruko tuned out the rest, silently hoping for a team that would help her grow. Team 7, Iruka called. Kiba Inuzuka, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. Kiba frowned while Sakura brightened upon hearing Sasuke's name. Team 8, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Uzumaki Naruko. Naruko blinked, surprised. Shino was quiet but dependable. Hinata, however, was kind, perhaps too kind. Naruko hoped their sensei would help Hinata grow stronger in confidence. Team 10, Akimichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru, and Yamanaka Ino. Ino groaned loudly. Seriously? I'm stuck with the sleepy guy and the foodie? Naruko, now fully fed up with the negativity, turned. Didn't both of them score higher than you? Maybe think before judging. Embarrassed, Ino went silent. Iruka smiled gently. You are dismissed. Return by 12:30. As Naruko stood, she turned to her new teammates. Hey, if we're going to be working together, maybe we should start getting to know each other. Lunch? Hinata blushed bright red and softly replied, oh okay. That seems reasonable, Shino said evenly. Where should we eat? Probably not ramen, Naruko joked. Might not be bug friendly. How about a cafe? That is acceptable, Shino replied. Later, they waited outside until a confident woman with red eyes and flowing black hair approached. She wore a stylish mesh blouse covered with a rose-patterned cloak that gave her a graceful yet formidable presence. Team 8, she said with a warm but commanding tone. With me. And just like that, Naruko's journey as a true shinobi had officially begun. Following their sensei, the team was led to a peaceful patio surrounded by greenery, with a few benches positioned beneath the shade. Once everyone was seated, the woman began her introduction. My name is Yuhi Kurenai. I may be your Jonin sensei, but more on that later. First, I'd like to get to know each of you a little better. Please share your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future. I'll go first to make things easier. She offered a warm smile before continuing, as I mentioned, I'm Yuhi Kurenai. I enjoy genjutsu, spending time with friends, and eating dengo. I'm not fond of behavior that disrespects others or misrepresents the strength of kunoichi. My hobby is studying and practicing new genjutsu techniques. My goal is to prove that genjutsu is just as powerful as any other ninja skill, and that kunoichi can excel on equal footing. She gave an encouraging nod. Now, who would like to go next? My name is Aburame Shino, the quiet boy said in a composed tone. I like my kikaiku companions and my family. I'm not fond of those who treat insects without care or compassion. My hobby is studying and observing insect behavior. My dream is to become the most accomplished head of the Aburame clan. Those are thoughtful goals, Kurenai responded, pleased. Who's next? My name is Hyuga Hinata, the shy girl said softly. My likes are sea cinnamon buns, my F family, and... Her gaze shifted briefly to Naruko, and she blushed deeply. Everyone noticed but said nothing. My dislikes are unfair treatment and cruelty. My hobbies are flower pressing and... Another glance toward Naruko brought a brighter blush to her cheeks. My goal is to unite my clan and bring about positive changes from within. Her voice trailed off, and after one more nervous glance at Naruko, she fainted. The team, familiar with Hinata's nervous spells, waited calmly. Kurenai inwardly noted, I'll need to help her build her confidence. Naruko, watching with concern, thought, I should have helped her feel more comfortable before now. Once Hinata regained her composure, Kurenai nodded and said gently, you're next. With energy and determination, Naruko stood up. My name is Naruko Uzumaki. I enjoy training, working with sealing techniques, and eating ramen. I don't like when people misjudge others or act like bullies. My hobbies are training, inventing new types of seals, gardening, and playing shogi. My dream is to become the greatest Hokage the village has ever seen. Kurenai smiled. She might be just the support Hinata needs. Returning to the topic, Kurenai addressed the group, now that we've introduced ourselves, I want to share something important. This team has been assigned as a tracking squad. Naruko raised her hand politely, and Kurenai gestured for her to speak. I understand why Hinata and Shino are here, but wouldn't someone like Kiba have been a better fit because of his enhanced sense of smell? Kurenai nodded thoughtfully. That's a fair question. Tracking squads often require balance. While Shino and Hinata provide excellent tracking ability, we also need someone strong enough to support the team during more challenging missions. That's where you come in, Naruko. Naruko gave a nod of understanding, accepting the explanation. Kurenai continued, however, there's one more thing. I might not be your permanent sensei just yet. The graduation exam was only the beginning. Every Jonin gives a final test to their assigned team to determine if they're truly ready to become Jonin. The truth is, only 1/3 of candidates pass. Shino remained expressionless, but focused. Naruko responded with confident energy, while Hinata began to look extremely anxious. The test will take place tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Training Ground 8. If you pass, I will guide you to reach your full potential. Good luck. With that, Kurenai vanished in a swirl of leaves, leaving the team to reflect. Shino quietly prepared to leave, while Hinata sank to the ground, clearly overwhelmed. Naruko quickly approached and gently placed her hands on Hinata's shoulders. Hinata, hey! Look at me. Right here, in my eyes. Hinata hesitated, then looked up. You're going to be amazing. I'll be there with you, every step of the way. Turning to Shino, Naruko added, wait. She looked between her teammates, then said, our sensei said that each person only has a 1 in 3 chance to pass. But maybe, if we work together, that chance improves. We're a team now. We need to support one another. A new spark of confidence filled Hinata's expression. Shino, while quiet, stepped back and sat down. Agreed, he said calmly. But what will our plan be? Naruko nodded. We can't plan too specifically until we know what the test is. But we do know 2 things, it'll probably involve tracking skills, since that's our team's specialty, and our sensei is very talented in genjutsu. The 3 of them leaned in together, beginning to discuss possibilities with growing unity and hope for what lay ahead. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the content and found something worth your time. Thanks for sticking around and listening, your support means everything. Until next time. 6 Path Weeb.